and welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures podcast. I am your host, Rick Trimmer. And again, so it's first of the month, 1st of February. And today I'm recording an Ask Me Anything like we do. Time for people to send in questions and ask me anything they want, pretty much. I'll answer them as honestly and openly as I can. I have not read these before. I've got 4 different pages. Starting to get a lot more questions coming in, which is cool in the beginning. There was just a handful. Starting to get more inquiries and more questions, so that makes it a lot easier to run through these. And let's jump into these. So let's see. Let's redo that.
Go ahead.
Just good.
Yeah.
Clap.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures podcast. I am your host, Rick Trimmer, and today we are going to record the February Ask Me Anything episode. We have a bunch of questions here in front of me. We've got 3 or 4 pages of questions here, actually, which is awesome. Back in the beginning, when we first started asking for these, we'd get 2 or 3 questions. Now I have, I don't even know, probably maybe 50, 60, 75. So we're not going to get to all those, obviously. I'm just going to kind of bounce around from page to page, trying to get to as many as I can, and then we'll save some for the next time. But basically, this is a chance for people to ask me whatever they want about M42, the Genesis, my personal life, things like that. And I'll answer them as openly and honestly as I can. So let's jump into these. I've not read any of these, so these are all blind to me, and sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But let's start with this one over here. All right, so it says, Rick, for those who are new to M42 Adventures, what types of events do you organize and how do they stand out from other adventure-based events? So in the beginning, people thought that we were a hunting brand, which is understandable. I'm passionate about hunting. I enjoy it. It's what I do a lot of throughout the year, hunting and fishing. But that's not what we are. We are an adventure brand, adventure company. We do all types of things. So the types of events this year, so in a month, we're actually going to Costa Rica for a surf experience. We have UTV experiences this year, horse riding experiences, a couple hunting. We've got a Hawaii hunting, an Africa hunting, Alaska fishing trip. So basically anything that we can find. We have actually started launching one day experiences. So some of these other ones are 3 or 4 nights, some are 7 nights, and we just started launching one day experiences. So we've had 2 firearm experiences, pistol classes where people have come out to Southern Utah and learn firearm safety. The last one we actually did, it was the second pistol course. It was how to drop them and holster, and it was really fun, really good time. People really enjoyed that. So we're working on outdoor cooking experiences. We're working on self-defense experiences. We're working on hiking experiences right now. So yeah, I mean, it changes as everything does, but the types of events are kind of what fall into our lap and what, mentors we have and what we have access to. And then how do they differ from others? Well, the one day ones and stuff like that. I mean, the basic differences are we supply the guns, we supply the ammunition. A lot of firearm classes don't do that. We wanted to make the entry as easy as possible. And then as far as the other experiences like Costa Rica, we're going down for a surf experience, but there's going to be zip lining. There's going to be amazing food. There's going to be catamarans, UTVs, stuff like that. So, and then also we're peppering it in with self-help and what's the word, Chase? Seminars, something like that.
Yeah, seminars.
To where we are going to actually have, people come out to these experiences and talk to you about, finances or mental health or your fitness, things like that, depending on what the event is and who the mentor is that can come to that. So not just a trip, but we're trying to work on, I want people to understand, get a little bit of, like with Africa last year. We took 22 people to Africa, And we did a helicopter flight for everybody. I mean, 2/3 of the people had never been in a helicopter. And so what a cool experience to have your first helicopter ride be over, Africa, and all the animals. You could see the giraffes and the zebras and all the animals running around. And then we went to an orphanage, raised money for that, went shopping, and then actually went to the orphanage and handed out what we bought. So trying to make it to where it's not just a hunting trip or a photo safari, but you actually get immersed in that culture. And so that's how we are different. All right, let's see. Let's jump over to this one. What was the defining moment in your life that led you to start M42 Adventures and the Genesis? For those of you who don't know, M42 Adventures is the company. The Genesis is our online community. And so there wasn't really a defining moment that I can pick out. It wasn't like an aha moment. It was more the past 8 years of traveling with my wife and kids, coming from losing everything in the recession. Everything, to building that back. And I actually thought about this the other day, how I wish everybody could feel what it's like. I've been there where, you're stressed about when the phone rings or the mail comes or losing this job or losing that job. And I thought the other day, there's really nothing, one single thing that could really change my life financially. And that's such a freedom that I hadn't experienced for the first 34 years of my life, 33 years of my life. And so the defining moment for me was being on these trips with my wife and kids and thinking, I wish everybody could do this. I wish everybody could experience, what it's like to have financial security and be able to, do what they want to do, whether that's travel or, go hiking or go fishing or whatever, play golf, whatever it is that makes you want to get out of bed every morning. That was the defining moment, and it happened over the course of years. And then the Genesis, the reason I wanted to have the Genesis is because I think the most of the joy that I get from my life now is from the relationships that I have, the friendships, the trips that I go on, everything that most of the trips that I do, I try to, like we're doing a road trip of the U.S. here in a few weeks while we wait for my newborn's passport. And we're actually going to send the passport to Florida, where we'll be on our trip, and then we're going to fly from there to Costa Rica. And along the way, we have plans to visit several people that we've met here and there that have become great friends. And so the Genesis is kind of bringing that community, those friendships, the networking together, and then M42 is to get you on the adventure, whatever that may be. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to jump over to this one, trying to be random here. All right, let's see. What role does your storytelling play in your work, and how do you incorporate it in your events? What role does your storytelling play in your work, and how do you incorporate it into your events? That's a hard one. I mean, storytelling is more, how does my life, stories are your life. They're the stories of your journeys and your memories and all that. And so obviously that's going to be intricate into my work and my events. Direct, how does that play a role? Sometimes I do tell stories. We actually had, in the beginning, we had story time with Rec on the podcast, which was pretty funny. I'm a decent storyteller from what I've been told, and I've got some pretty funny stories. I actually probably should bring a couple of those back. I had some really funny ones happen in Minnesota here recently. So yeah, I mean, what role does story play in my work? I think it's intricate. Who you are, your history. That's kind of a vague one, but that's, I guess, the best way I could answer that. All right, let's go over here. This is an interesting one. If you could have dinner with any adventurer, entrepreneur, or personal growth figure, living or dead, Who would it be and why? Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. You hear that, people ask that all the time. The dead part's hard because that's everybody. There's a lot of cool people. So dead, I mean, probably Marcus Aurelius would be a cool one, I think. I just watched Gladiator the other day. I read his, what's it called? Meditations. Crazy book. It just seems like a smart dude, obviously ruler of the most powerful empire at that time. I think he would be a very cool person to have dinner with. Living, geez, that's a tough one. What would you say, Chase? Who would you say?
Honestly, just because I think we'd have a good conversation, I'd probably pick somebody like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Just because of the conversation
that
happened.
Yeah. He's a smart dude. He's well thought out.
Yeah.
I was thinking Trump.
I thought about Trump, and then I instantly thought about Elon.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Those could go either way.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a very interesting conversation if you could have access to them for dinner and some questions. They're pretty eccentric and powerful people.
Oh yeah.
Right? President, and then Musk being the most wealthy guy alive. So I mean, I think both those would be cool. All those would be cool.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, but yeah, that's who I would pick. All right, let's see. So you built a community called the Genesis. What's the vision behind this community, and how does it support people in their journey? So the vision behind this community is basically trying to get people involved. The adventures are 5, 6, 7 times a year. The big adventures. The monthly adventures are a couple times a month. Those are harder. You don't see them all the time. I just did the pistol shoot a week ago, and it was amazing. It's cool. You get to meet, what was there, 20 people there, 18 people, something like that. Like-minded people that want to learn firearm safety and men and women. And those are where I get my real value is the one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but the in-person. Going to Africa with somebody for a week, going to Hawaii with them, going fishing with them, going to Costa Rica, surfing with them for a week. I mean, in that week, you can come out as brothers or sisters. You can get a lot of growth in a week with somebody on those experiences. But the Genesis is a spin-off of that to where you can get it daily, weekly, all the time. You can text people in there. You can message them. We have live Zooms with mentors. And so it's just needed. You got the daily, monthly interaction, and then hopefully we all join each other here and there on these big experiences out in the real world. And so the vision behind that was just, again, trying to get like-minded people who want to, we have our 4 pillars, right? We have finances, fitness, family relationships, mental health. I think that's it, right? And, those are intricate in your life. If any of those are out of balance, too much, obviously we all struggle with them, individually, and most of us struggle with one of those or all of those. But if they get too far out of balance, then your world starts to fall apart. And so the vision was to try to get those 4 pillars, we call them, in check best you can with support from mentors and people who have done it, and then come out and join us on adventures with M42 Adventures. So how does it support people in their journey? We got mentors in there. We have 7 now?
Yep.
7 mentors that are supporting people daily, weekly, monthly, in all aspects of what they are mentoring in. And then we're all, in there to chat and build each other up. And it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory on that one. All right, let's see. I was thinking about this, Chase, actually. I think what we should start doing maybe, this will be actually harder with me leaving here. But I think it'd be good to do this together, 2 of us, so that we have a little bit of back and forth.
Right.
Just thinking out loud here. So jump in on the microphone if you have anything you want to add to any of this, because...
Well, I was going to say something about the Genesis in general. When I was younger, I was told by somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they always told me, like, if there's anything that you want to do in life, especially if it's, adventurous, and most of these things were like bouldering or, just things that I didn't understand, but I really wanted to do, climbing and things like that, is you got to go surround yourself with the people that do it. If you want to do anything in life, realistically, you got to go find people that do it at that current time, and they'll teach you. And so the Genesis is like a workaround. You know what I mean? So like you can go find people that are interested in pretty much anything when it comes down to, outdoor fun, and they will guide you along. So it takes out that guessing game of what do I do next, any of those things. And so, it's like without having to go out, find a gym or something where people climb or anything like that, you can just jump on the Genesis and correlate with people that actually do that or have the same interests. And so you can go through that journey together. And that's a huge point, because when I was young, we didn't have, online anything. So you had to go out and find those people. You had to, figure out, where does this even exist? I mean, from place that I like snow, relatively. I don't like to live in it, but, just finding people that I knew that went out boarding a lot, that would drive to Bryan Head because I didn't have a lot of money and things like that. And so just finding those people that will inspire you. And that Genesis aspect is just, like I said, a workaround.
Yeah, that's a good point. I told you this story this morning, but I was at the gym yesterday. And so if you look at the gym, so you go to this gym, you go to this room, right? Online, the Genesis, you go to this room of 100 people, and everybody's in there kind of doing their own thing, whatever. And you're chatting, you're talking, you're just having these conversations, kind of figuring out who is your people, who you like, what you want to do. Well, I was at the gym the other day and I'm sitting there working out, and this guy walked by in a bobsled. It said Team USA bobsled. And he walked by a couple times, and I'm like, man, that's a weird, bobsledding is just not something that most people are into.
Yeah.
And again, my personality, the third time he walked by, I says, hey man, sorry to bug you. You're at the gym, you're trying to do your thing, but are you a bobsledder? Like, are you, and he says, no, my son's one of the coaches for the U.S. Olympic team. And we ended up talking for 4 or 5 minutes. He told me all about his son. I actually want to have him on the podcast. But you're right. Like you're saying, like the Genesis is that online. So you can be in there hanging out kind of, in a social setting. Mm-hmm. And then you can see somebody over here that has, that we have different channels, so that you could say, hey, Dana's is the mentor of the hiking channel. Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'd like hiking. I want to get into that. Hey, Dana, can we talk? Mm-hmm. And she says, yeah, absolutely. Let's chat. Let's have a conversation. And so it breaks down that barrier of nowhere in a million years would I have grabbed that guy and said, do you like bobsledding?
Yeah.
Ever.
No.
But he walked by, he had the shirt on, he was saying, this is who I am. And he was excited to talk about it. I mean, he was passionate. It's his son's career. And that's what's cool about being in there is you find there's 112 of us now, mm-hmm. something like that. 112, 4 months old, 120 days old. So about a member a day, right?
Yep.
And there are people in there that are, from what I can see, they're open to want to learn. They're opening to want to grow. They're opening to change. They're opening to growth.
Yep.
Open to growth. And that's what's cool about it. I heard this, I think it was on a podcast or something the other day where they said, if you're in the gym and you're all working out in the gym, you're not going to make fun of somebody in the gym.
No.
Because no matter what they're doing, mm-hmm. no matter if they're lifting 1 pound,
yeah,
you're like, hey, they're in here. Mm-hmm. They're my people. Mm-hmm. We're all in this gym. We're all trying to make our bodies better for whatever reason, and I respect that. And so that's what's cool about being in the Genesis is we're all in there. We're all learning in our own ways. Some are above, some are below, mm-hmm. and so that's the vision, and that's how we support people. All right, let's see. I'm going to go over to this one. What does this say? What personal goals are you setting for yourself this year, both professionally and personally?
Ooh.
That's, it's interesting. My personal goals are pretty simple, honestly. Mine is to try to get as much fun and joy every day, every month, every year, out of life. I hear all these stories of people. There was actually a gentleman, like 3 weeks ago in town north of me, about an hour north of me, but connected through family members and friends, that was out on a hike, my same age. I think he was like a year older, a year younger, and had a heart attack and passed away. And so, you hear a lot of that stuff kind of around you, and it's never going to happen to you type thing and whatever, but it does happen. It can. And so my personal goals that I'm setting this year are travel. That's what I'm passionate about. I actually had a conversation with my oldest last night. He's 13, and he's a little bit more hesitant to go travel. He's been traveling since he was 4, and he's never done a full year of school in his life. This year we thought he might get one in, and we're actually going to pull him out a couple months early. And so never is going to have one full year of schooling. But as he gets older, that wasn't a big deal when he was younger, but now as he gets older, he's starting to make the relationships, right? His focus is elsewhere, right? On friendships and girls and things like that, which is totally understandable. So this one's a little bit harder. He's still okay with it, but he is, he's asking questions like, how long are we going for? Can I call my friends when we're out there? Things that never were asked before. And I said to him, hey, listen, man, you're 13. When we get back, you're going to be 15. And we've talked about being done traveling long-term when he's 15. We can't, he needs to have a social life. He needs to go to dances and date and have friends and play sports and stuff like that. And so that was written in our rules, 8 years ago, was we wouldn't let him miss high school, basically. But I did talk to him last night, and I said, listen, for the next couple years, till you're 15, we're going to go do this one more time, and we're going to spend time together, but you will never, ever get this chapter back. Mm-hmm. You'll never be able to long-term travel with your mom and dad, potentially, after this time. When we get back, you're going to go into high school, you're going to, jump into college, travel, whatever he decides, whatever he decides to go, or marriage and stuff like that. And so that's what my personal goals are: spend as much time with my wife and kids as I possibly can, is my goal. Mm-hmm. And so
let me ask you a question about the stop and traveling. So you obviously, your eldest understands and has been traveling this whole time. You have a 4-year-old, and then what age are they?
13, 10, 4, and 3 weeks.
So you have a 4-year-old, which he may or may not remember this traveling that you've done, mm-hmm. So he's at that age, like, mm-hmm. it'll be hit and miss. Mm-hmm. But do you feel like your daughter's going to be upset that she missed out on all of it if you don't get to go back out there?
Well, so we have plans for that. So my oldest are 10 and 13. Mm-hmm. And when we get back, they'll be 15 and 12. Mm-hmm. And so what we plan on doing is being home for a few years, 3 to 5 years. Oh, and again, until because when my second Hayes is 18, mm-hmm. So when we get back, he'll be 12, pushing 13. It'd be 5 years. So my daughter would be 5, mm-hmm. and then, well, I mean, yeah. So in 2 years she'll be 2. Add 5 more years, she'll be 7, and then we could go because my youngest will be 10.
Yeah, and then you could be like
5 more years.
Yeah.
So we have a second gap to where we could go for another 5 years. Mm-hmm. And when I say, it's funny because when I say it's long-term travel.
Yeah.
Right. So what our plans are, and this is still good, but we're going to try to do like 2 months here, 2 to 2.5 months here, and then 2 to 4 weeks off of traveling.
Yeah.
So we're still going to get a lot of travel in.
Yeah.
But my oldest, if he wants to stay here and, play football or something for the couple weeks we're gone, he can stay here, and we'll have him stay with grandma or something. But we're still going to travel.
Makes sense.
But we have plans. So
I was like, man, I was just thinking about being that child. I'm like, I would be pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, how they all grow up from this.
Right.
And how they all, process it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm, you know, who knows? I've never seen it done. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not really somebody to compare it to, but I'm hopefully my boys are grateful and they appreciate it. And then hopefully with my two younger ones, the 4 and the 1 month old, we do another round, you know. And again, I'm just one of those guys where hopefully, you know, but you never know. And so we're going to go now, and we're going to go hard and have a blast. We're going to road trip the U.S. for a few months. Then we're going to go to Costa Rica for a month in there. And then anyway, we got the plans. So yeah. What personal goals are you setting up for this year's travel? Spend time with my family. Again, I'm going to keep podcasting. Chase will be running this show here. I'll be doing podcasting and things like that. But I want to go do these experiences. I'm in a position to where, you know, my deal with this was with my partners was I'd come in for a year, get it set up. Our 1 year anniversary is sometime in March. I'm not exactly sure when, but we're 10 months old, maybe 11, you know, something like that. Still a baby. But I told them I'd come in for a year, which I'm going to do. And then I told them I'd find somebody to take over the day-to-day, which is you, Chase. Right. And then I want to go have fun. You know, I'm in a position, thankfully, to where I can. And that is what my goals are, is to just have fun and experience as much as I can and spend time with my kids. You know, with travel, the two things that I get out of travel more than even being like in Italy or Costa Rica or whatever is I wake up with them, I get undivided attention with them, and then there's no stress from home. You know, I've talked to you a little bit about that. That's just really kind of come into my thoughts. I knew it was happening, but I hadn't processed it. But coming home now for a year and doing this startup, which is stressful. Startups are very hard and difficult. And this one's been easier than most because we have office space, we have money, you know, we have time, things that usually you don't have as much of, you know, so this one's been easier than most, and it's still been very difficult and long hours. But when I'm traveling, I don't get phone calls. People will call me and say, for the first 20 to 30 days, people will text or call, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And I just text back, you know, I'm out of the country for 6 months.
You're like, oh, well.
And they obviously they're not going to text back. Yeah. And so after 20 or 30 days, it's funny because my phone calls will go from 10 or 15 a day to like 4 or 5 a month. Yeah. Within 90 days, something like that, which is so nice. Not to be rude to anybody or anything like that, but it's funny how this is a weird thing. When you are home, I'm naturally just busy. Yeah. It's a weird thing. Like when I'm traveling, I tell myself, like, I don't have to be busy. I don't have to get up at 7 a.m. I don't need to go to the gym every day. I don't need to do this or that. And so you're on vacation. Yeah. But when it's long term, it's different because I'm on vacation for 6 months or a year. But when I get home, even me personally, when I get home, I instantly just feel more stress. And like I put it on myself. I know I do. It's like I gotta mow the lawn. I gotta go.
You have tasks you have to do every
Yeah, and it's like, wow, man, I've been gone from my house for a year. The lawn was fine. The neighbor mowed it. You know, all these things still happen. But then I get home and it's like, I got to check on this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And within 20 to 30 days of being home, I fill up my schedule and I'm stressed out again. Yep. And I'm like, man, I wish I could balance that. I wish I could live a little bit at home like I am when I'm on vacation. But I don't know why. It's a weird thing for me to.
This is definitely the area you could live like you were on vacation.
It is. It is.
I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Like I'm looking at my schedule today and it is just slammed and I'm stressed, and then tomorrow's even worse. And I'm like, man, and then I'm flying to South Carolina. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm busy. I got all this going on. And it's funny because it's just, I don't know with being home, I just feel like I have to, or I don't know. It's a weird deal. Yeah. So, all right. Let me get over to, let's look at this one here. Okay. How do your events cater to both seasoned adventurers and beginners looking to step outside their comfort zone? Hey guys, let's take a quick minute and step away from this conversation. I wanted to talk to you about a few things that we have going on here at M42 Adventures. First is the Genesis, our online community. It is live. It's been up for 4 months now, and we have 100 plus members. It is free, completely free, no strings attached. You don't enter your credit card. There's no way for us to get money from you secretly. We are genuinely wanting to help people, and the owners of M42 Adventures are picking up the tab. So get in there, join the community. You get access to our experiences. We have 7 or 8 this year that are sold out, that were sold a lot to members of the Genesis. And then we have events coming up, our daily events as well, or our monthly events as well. Shoot.
Start over?
Can't have a commercial be that. I guess you could, honestly. It's probably more real.
It is. Maybe you can always
Yeah, I'll do it over. All right. Hey guys, let's step away from this conversation real quick and talk about a few things we have going on here at M42 Adventures. First thing I wanted to talk to you about is the Genesis. It's our online community. You can go to m42adventures.com and sign up for that. It is completely free, no strings attached. And we have a lot of amazing things going on in there. We have 100 plus people in there right now. It's 4 months old and growing fast. And you get access to the weekly experiences, the 3 and 4 day experiences, and the 1 day experiences. You get first access to those. The other thing is we're doing giveaways in there. So amazing giveaways are coming up that we're going to be launching here pretty quick. And then not only that, you get access to mentors. We have 7 mentors in there covering, I think, 10 or 11 channels. And you get one-on-one access with these people. These are people that are specialists in their fields. I mean, finances, spiritual and mental health, dirt bikes, motorcycles, hiking, relationships, firearms, outdoor cooking. I mean, just amazing people that are specialists, 15, 20, 30 years of experience in these fields of people that you get access to. They do a once a month Zoom call, and then you can chat with them. You can have a conversation with them, and highly valuable. I'm using it myself, and I love it. So I encourage you to get in there, check that out. We have experiences that will be coming up. We have firearm experiences here in Southern Utah, outdoor cooking experiences, hiking experiences, and we are working on more all the time, all over the nation, all different aspects. So check it out. Love to see you in there. Sign up, tell your friends, appreciate the support. Let's get back to this conversation. Okay.
Very good point.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is a good one because I know that when I go on adventures, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, it's very intimidating to think I'm going on a bow hunt and I don't know how to shoot a bow. It's like, I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to look, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm not going to get an animal. And so the way we cater to both, like for example, the Costa Rica surf experience, we have an instructor, and we've told them some people will never touch. I haven't surfed. I've tried a couple times in Hawaii, but for like 15, 20 minutes. So I would say I never have stood up. It's never happened. And then we're going to have people there that love to surf and, they bring in their own boards and stuff, so, but both are welcome and that's what it's like kind of saying, if you have a dojo,
yeah,
and it's like, they don't just take black belts,
right?
Obviously. So it's the same with us. I heard the other day, and I think I've said this at least half a dozen times on my podcast, the hardest belt to get is the white belt. It's to start.
Yep.
So that's what's cool. We're out there. There's going to be a lot of people who've never served, and we're going to be compassionate to myself. And then there's going to be people out there that have served. And that's what's cool from everybody that I've seen in this community, all these communities that we're going to be a part of. The ones that don't know how to do it want to learn, and the ones who know how to do it want to teach them. We want, I think, instinct. If you find something you love, and somebody wants to do that, 9 out of 10 people are going to say, "Man, let's get you started." I've been there. I remember what it's like to not know and be scared and intimidated. So let me hold your hand, and that's what it's about.
There's a small part in that. I was talking to Misty about this, the other day. But there's a small part to that it's like attaining immortality. You know, when you pass something down to someone, some knowledge, some skill, something, and they retain that and they utilize it for the rest of their lives, and they pass that down to their kids and so on and so forth, that's something that was a part of you that you now shared for eternity.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a neat factor to kind of put into that whole idea of what you can attain when you teach.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing better. You know, I've talked about this, I think, on the last podcast with Seth, where I talked about my son helping that girl that dropped what ice cream cone or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
That was awesome.
You know, when you help your fellow man, especially with a life skill, firearms or hunting or, fitness or finances, when you change somebody's direction in their life for the better, yeah, absolutely immortality as far as that, they're going to remember that for as long as they're alive. But so will you. So will you. You know, there's value both ways on that. And so yeah, that's that one. All right, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go to this one right here. Looking ahead, what's your big vision for M42 Adventures and the Genesis in the next 5 years? What's your dream outcome? Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. So my big vision for M42 Adventures and the Genesis is just more adventures, more members in the community, more lives changed, more people with their finances in order, more people with their fitness in order. I mean, basically, in the next 5 years, I would like to have a couple thousand members, I would say. Say 500 a year, something average, so 2,000 to 2,500 members. And not just, again, I say this all the time, not just to have the number.
Yeah.
But that means that 2,000 to 2,500 people hopefully are getting mentored from, I'd like by the end of this year to have a mentor in every, so Chase, get on it.
Yeah, I got you.
And I know you are.
Yeah.
But by the end of this year, pretty close to, I'd like to have a mentor in every channel. And then next year, I would like to have one thing we're working on here is staffing and things like that, but I'd like to have one of the bigger adventures once a month. So 12 of those next year would be awesome. The one-dayers, a couple of those a month, 24 of those would be cool. And then a couple thousand members that are just, growing, learning, friendships for me, people that I can, that are in my community, my circle, that we can go on these adventures and have a good time. So yeah, that's the next 5 years. I just hope that it's here, that it makes it, and that it is a bright spot, a place for people to go for, lessons and instructions and mentorship and growth, and then also adventures. That would be my dream outcome.
Yeah.
And that I get to go on them. I think the end of that sentence would be, I don't want to run the day to day with the business, but I would like to be able to, go on all the adventures and
keep on creating those relationships.
Yeah. Just experience them myself. This is a personal thing as well. So yeah, that's a good question. All right, let's see. How do you approach mentorship and what qualities do you look for in a mentor? That's a good one.
It is.
So how do I approach mentorship? Well, I'm going to actually answer the second part of that. What do I look for in a mentor? The biggest thing that I tell people that I think is not even lost necessarily, but you have to kind of wade through all the BS, is making sure that your mentor is qualified.
Yeah.
We all know probably somebody personally. I had a person probably 4 or 5 months ago that they were a financial coach, like helping women. It was a woman helping other women with their finances, and it wasn't real. I know their finances were messed up. I know they were trying to sell courses to, fund their life, and it just wasn't real. And I'm not going to say anything or anything like that, obviously, but find the person. And that's what's hard about these days is there's so many people that I know that have huge trucks and huge houses and huge boats and huge, that you would think that are just loaded, and they're broke or they're in severe debt. You know, we know all those people, right?
Yeah.
That smoke and mirrors. And I used to be that person. So I'm not judging anybody. I used to be the guy that had all the toys. It's funny because when I had I had four-wheelers, motorcycles, Jeeps, cars, all these different things. And when I lost it all, I moved into my my grandparents' basement. And over the next few years, I started, saving money and investing in things like that. And I've told this story where one of my buddies grabs my ATM receipt in Vegas. And he says, "Whoa, you have a lot of money, Rick."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "We all thought you were broke." And he says, "We thought you had a lot of money years ago, and now we thought you were broke because you live in the basement of your grandparents' house." And I'm like, "It's opposite."
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I had no money. It was all payments.
Mm-hmm.
I was making good money, but I was making payments. And as soon as the income stopped, the whole house of cards fell, obviously. Yeah. But once I was living in the basement and drove an old crappy car and, my wife didn't get her hair done or her nails done, everybody assumed now we're broke. Yeah. And that's when we had real money. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a funny thing. So that would be the first thing is make sure that your mentor, if it's a fitness mentor, make sure they're in shape. If it's a financial mentor, make sure they are secure in their money mm-hmm. and their investments. If it's a mental health one, make sure they're not crazy, So vet your mentors would be number one. And that's what I look for in my mentors. I go to people who are successful in whatever area I'm trying to be mentored in. And that they, it's like, I don't look for a mentor who, we were talking about this with like Dana, mm-hmm. when we were looking for a hiking mentor. I have hundreds and hundreds of friends that hike a lot and they enjoy hiking and mm-hmm. they, but Dana is a certified guide in Zion National Park. Mm-hmm. She's done amazing things in the mm-hmm. hiking field. She knows nutrition. She knows how to pack. She knows from experience.
I mean, she's utilized the thing. She lives the life that, is the thing that makes you an expert.
Exactly.
In that field. She's done it long enough for, enough people and actually teaches other people how to do it. So it's, it's
finding that person that is actually qualified, not, hey, we need a golf mentor. My buddy likes to golf and he golfs a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, I want the guy who has been an instructor, who has owned a school or who has, been a part of a program or something. And so that's the first thing is make sure your mentor is qualified.
Well, I can wholeheartedly tell people, I mean, there's some great people, and me being a chef, I can say there's a whole bunch of people out there that I can tell you are amazing cooks, but they couldn't teach you how to cook to save their lives because it's just not a part of who they are.
Yeah, you got to have a different personality.
You know what I mean? So like to be a teacher, to be a mentor, sometimes you got to have different skills than just being great at something.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. You have a lot of people who are very good at something, but they're introverts mm-hmm. and they don't want to talk and they're nervous. And it's like, well, you're not going to be a good mentor. We have to be able to communicate.
Exactly.
So that's a good point as well. So the things how do I approach mentorship? The number one thing that I do is I want to get results. And that's what's been really cool about not charging for the Genesis, our online community. A lot of communities charge, which is nothing against them. We all have costs, and we're just able to cover those in-house through our owners. But by keeping it free, it's pure.
Yeah,
it really is. There's no, and the hard part is that we've all been so burned and jaded and whatever that nobody really, they're like, what's the catch?
Yeah.
And there usually is.
Yeah.
There usually is. And I tell my kids all the time, nothing is free. Mm-hmm. But sometimes things are free. There's a different way to look at it. So like Instagram. Yeah. Instagram's free.
Yeah.
Well, it's not to somebody. They're making money somehow and they make it through ads and mm-hmm. Eyeballs and things like that. And so that's the difference with the Genesis is, this is free. We are picking up the tab right now and we're trying to figure out ways to monetize it down the road without mm-hmm. monetizing our members.
Yeah.
And that is what we're working on. So my point of that is when I am mentoring, it's pure. Mm-hmm. The people that I'm financially coaching, because I'm the financial coach in there, which people are signing up every day. It's been great. Is let's get results. I'm not here to drag you out for 6 months and try to take a couple $100 from you a month and buy a new boat. I am here on my own time donated for free, and we are going to get you results as fast as possible.
As long as you do the work.
As long as you do the work. And so with everybody, you know, I've said, here's the map, and I give them maps.
Yeah.
You know, there's the straight line, there's the, you know, kind of zigzag, and then there's the long roundabout way. You know, if you want to retire in 10 years, or if you want to retire, you can retire in 5, 10, or 20. And 5 is no more Starbucks, no more dinners out, you know, working double shifts. It's the boot camp. It's just grind it out, but you can get there. Yep. That's what I did, and I'm glad. You know, I'm that's kind of my personality. You've seen me with weight loss. Yeah. You know, it's easier for me to just starve myself and for 2 months and lose 30 pounds than to try to lose a pound a month for 3 years. I just burn out on it. I don't. My personality doesn't fit that model. And so, but some do. Yeah. Some are like, man, and I have a buddy in San Diego, Renz, you know, he's like, dude, I can't do the, you know, 1,500 calories a day, 1,000 calories a day. I can't do it. Yeah. He's like, I'd rather do 1,800 than 1,000. Yeah. And that's his personality. Yeah. And that's what's, so, but that's how I approach my mentorship. The first call is I'm here, I'm donating my time. My time is valuable. Your time is valuable. Let's get results. Yeah. And so that's my approach, you know, and then beyond that, it's like with my finance, I actually had this gentleman who, I started coaching a couple weeks ago, and he told me his situation, and his bills are actually relatively low. His income has just fallen. And I says, well, you got to get your income up. And he's like, I just don't know how, you know, I'm not sure what to do. And I went home and talked to my wife, and I told you this. Yeah. And I says, I've got to help get his income up. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's not what financial coaches do. Literally. Yeah. She's like, that's you know,
you're like, you're not supposed to come up with a plan for him.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Like, you're supposed to tell him this is what you got to do. And then,
yeah, they do it.
Yeah.
And I know that, but I have a lot of networking and a lot of things at my disposal. And I thought, man, I could help this gentleman and help him with some marketing, because we have an in-house, you know, marketer, and I'm working on that. Yeah. And I actually called him the next day, and I says, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure this out. It's an idea. I've never done it before, but what if we did something like this? And he literally says, whoa, the fact that you would go home and try to think of how to get my income up. Yeah. And then call me to do it. Mm-hmm. He's like, I did not expect that from a financial advisor. Right. And so that's the other thing that I'm trying to do is, I think a lot of stuff that we do these days is calories in, calories out, you know, expenses in, expenses out, which I understand. That's the fundamentals. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to go deeper, and I'm going to encourage my mentors to go deeper and say, you know, it's like you with self-defense, right? Or pistol class. If somebody said, hey, I want to protect my family. It's like, get a pistol. Yeah. And learn how to shoot it. Well, I know that. I can Google that. Mm-hmm. But then where you go further is, okay, you're a small woman, you're 100 pounds. This would be a good concealed carry. Let's go shoot a couple, try it out. Like, that's where I want our mentors and our M42 mentors to go further. Yeah. To get results. You know, not just a boilerplate plan that's, you know, I've had so many people say, you should just make an app. Yeah. You should just make a program. And I've thought about it, and I could give a lot of people the program, something that says, here's how you get financially free. But I think that's where we fall short. Yeah. I want to say, this is how you get financially free. Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard your situation. I've heard what you're doing. I've heard, you know, all your specific facts. And the way I mentor is, what would I do in your shoes? Yeah. Like, I can't do that for firearm safety because I don't know it. You know, if I were in your shoes and I wanted firearm safety, I would get in the Genesis and ask Chase. Right. And that's what I would do. Yeah. But with finances, I'm pretty good at saying, okay, this is your car payment. This is how many kids you have. This is your credit card debt. Mm-hmm. And then literally taking a couple hours and sitting down and saying, okay, if I woke up tomorrow and I was in this situation, how would I get out of it? Mm-hmm. And that's where this is different. that's how I'm mentoring.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot of labor. I know it's a lot of time involved, but the only way that this is going to, and I hope I can do that for a long time. If we get to 2,000 members, it's going to get difficult, and I've got to figure that out. I might have to get people around me or something that can help. But in the meantime, that's where I want, if M42 Adventures is not taking people on adventures and is not helping people, mentoring them in these different fields, then it does not need to be here.
Right.
So it needs to take people on adventures, which it is. And then we need to change lives, which it is. And that's how I mentor. I'm not here to waste anybody's time. Why would I? It's free.
Yeah.
There's no ulterior motive here.
Well, it's like for people, it's so, I was going to this DO, doctor of osteopathic medicine for muscular manipulation for a long time. And I really liked his motto. He's like, I want you to come in and I want to fix your issue so that you don't have to come back. He's like, I don't want you to have to come back. And that's a relatively horrible business model, but a great plan for anybody that wants to succeed at anything. It's like, look, I want you to be successful to where you don't need to talk to me anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to get you there as fast as possible. So it's not too much of my time. I want to help you, but I don't want to waste my time.
And I think that's the long game. I think if you're thinking I'm going to just treat his symptoms, then that's the short game. And that's what people are used to. Yeah. I think that's what we're all used to is you come in, they give you something to fix the inflammation that day, but they don't say, listen, it might be something you're eating. It might be, something genetic or you got a bug or something, it's like, and so that's where I want to be different in, like you're saying, the long game of, there's no shortage of people who need help.
Yeah.
It's not like, and that's where I think with it being free, it takes away the fear of that for people. It's like, well, Rick, what's the catch? You're helping me, you're giving me advice. We're on the phone. I talk to people that I don't know in the last couple of weeks that want financial advice. And they're like, what's your catch? At the end, you're going to pitch me some seminar or you're going to pitch me something. And I'm like, no.
Right.
No.
No.
You don't put your credit card in. It's like, and they're like, what is the catch? And I'm like, the catch is I want you to have a good life. And for some reason, I don't know why, I have one of my buddies that stands out. It's like, what are you doing? You don't have to do any of this. And you've actually said that to me, I don't have to be sitting at this microphone right now at all. I could be on a beach in Hawaii for sure. But there's something there and I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it. It's a weird thing where it's like, why do I, is it ego? Is it,
if you were a different person, I would say it was ego.
Yeah.
But, from getting to know you and things like that, it's, as much as you don't realize it, it's a drive to be of service. Yeah. Because you have the other things figured out. And so you're like sitting there like, now what? And so like you're like, well, I could share this with other people and get other people to this point. And there's a value there that really can't be explained.
Yeah, I try to talk to my friends about it that they usually trade time for money. And I'm not trading that, I'm trading time for less money because I'm paying to be here. And you're right. I haven't answered that yet, honestly, with myself, but I know genuinely that I wake up and I think I want to help people. I think it comes down to just, like I said, maybe wanting to make a difference or a legacy. I have no idea. I really am trying to process it, but all I know right now is I want to wake up. I want to interview cool people. Like today, I'm interviewing Greg Godfrey, right, with Nitro Circus. I'm excited about that. And that's exciting for me. I love talking to cool people that have lived amazing lives and is living an amazing life. And so there's joy from that. There's joy from being around. We've gotten to do some cool stuff that would have never happened. Yeah. Right. Outpost X. We got to go to. I'm going to Winter Strong tomorrow night or Thursday morning out in South Carolina. I've got some people flying in from South Africa that were my PHs next Tuesday, and we're going to go up to Salt Lake together to the Hunt Expo. Yeah. So I am getting value, and I guess that's probably the best way for me to answer it myself is I am getting value that that's not monetary.
Yeah.
And the monetary's covered, so I don't need that. So I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just cool. So, all right. How much time we got? Where are we at?
We are at 52.
Okay. I'm going to go one more question. Do you have anything you can think of, Chase, that I haven't answered because I know you put these together from people. Is there anything in there or did you not read them?
I read them. I just, you already answered a couple of the ones that I really wanted to hit on, especially the 5-year one. That one was an interesting one.
Yeah, that is a good one. I'm just going to pick a random one here then. Let's see. All right. Well, I don't know. Let's see this one. Do you have a go-to mantra or philosophy that you live by, whether it's on the road or back home? One life, so live.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's a great mantra to live by, I think.
Yeah. I think if you really, I think everybody, honestly, this is something I've never thought about till just barely, but I think everybody should come up with a mantra for their life.
Mm-hmm.
And it can change, it probably will change. We're all in different spots, chapters, seasons of our life, but mine is one life, so live. And it just, when you think that and you believe it and you encompass it, or like you put it into your soul, it makes you say yes to things. It makes you, value the life you've already lived.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 100% my mantra is just, you get one life, as far as I know.
As far as I know.
Yeah. And whether I'm on the road or back home, we've been home the last year with our little baby girl, with my wife pregnant, having our little baby girl. And in the last 12 months, we've been to Turkey, Africa, Alaska, Hawaii, several things in Utah, experiences and stuff like that. California half a dozen times. But it's funny because even when we're home, we sleep 50% of the time in our bed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, probably 70% this year. But still 100 days or so outside of our home.
Yeah.
Just going on staycations. We went and stayed in covered wagons. We go camping. We go all these different things. So yeah, that would be mine. My go-to mantra philosophy would be one life, so live. And, go figure it out. If your finances are not in order, you can figure it out. Mine were as bad as anybody's I've ever seen, and I didn't go win the lottery, or I didn't. The other thing too that I don't think people realize is when I dug out of it, it wasn't as a doctor,
right,
or a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I was making $36,000 a year for the first 3 or 4 years with a family of 3,
Mm-hmm.
me and my wife and child. But we just got our overhead down as low as we could, unbelievably low, and was able to save. And if you can save, I tell everybody this, if you can save 20 or 30 grand,
Mm-hmm.
you can buy a rental property,
Yeah,
or a business,
mm-hmm.
one or the
you
other.
just need that, that percentage.
That down payment,
Yeah.
that down payment. Most small businesses are 100 grand or less, something like that, like service businesses, or rental properties. You're not going to go buy a huge house, but you can go buy an apartment, a condo,
Yeah. Something for a couple $100,000.
Yeah, a couple $100,000. Yeah. I mean, that's the hard part. Was when I was doing it, it was 100. Now it's 200. So you need 40.
Yeah.
But even 40 grand, it's like, man, I saw this thing the other day from Dave Ramsey, I think is who it was. But if you don't buy the $6 latte, what's 6 times 365? Like 22,000?
What's 6 times 365? 2,190.
So just not getting a coffee every morning, which I see so many people do. So many people do. It's $2,000.
Yeah.
You can make a cup of coffee at home for 12 cents.
Yeah, easily.
And so it's just, and people don't think about that as a big deal. But when you add 2,000 here and then you say, okay, well, now I'm not going to eat out for $20 a week. Well, there's another 1,000, and pretty soon it adds up to $7,000-8,000 you could trim.
Oh yeah.
And then you start paying off some debt and getting rid of some of your payments. And now, my buddy, again, Renz in California, I'm going to use you as an example, Renz. For the last few years, he's been living this. We've been having these conversations and he's been, saving and living frugally. And then he started attacking student loans and debt that we all have. A lot of us have. And just this last year, he's like, man, I'm debt free.
Mhm.
And now he's going to start banking money. And I know in a couple of years, year and a half, 2 years, he's going to start buying rental properties.
Yep.
And I've watched it happen. And I've watched that happen with, a dozen people that I've been talking to.
Yep.
Renz was actually one of the first people I coached long ago. And so anyway, yeah, that would be find your mantra, find what you want to do, find what you live for, and then get yourself either physically fit, financially fit, and do that. So, all right. Well, hopefully you guys got some value in there. I know it's a little bit of rambling. These are random questions. So that's kind of what the episode is. Again, M42 Adventures, please share our message. Please like, share, follow us on social media. We got giveaways going on. We're working on a Genesis giveaway that's amazing. I'm going to put that here in a commercial today. So get in there, see what we're doing. We have 100 plus people in there now. It's growing. You get the first access to experiences. You get the first access to the 1 day experiences, the week experiences. And you get a community. You get a lot of like-minded people in there. So check it out. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.